Welcome to Grow to Glow.
You start with, "We need to talk about the dishes," and somehow end up screaming about your mother-in-law from 3 years ago. If every conversation with your partner feels like you're walking through a minefield, and you can't figure out how you went from talking about laundry to questioning your entire relationship, this video is for you. I'm going to show you the 5 communication techniques that will completely transform how you and your partner handle conflict. No more walking on eggshells, no more explosive fights over nothing, just real conversations that actually bring you closer together. Let me tell you about Emma and Jake. They love each other deeply, but their communication style is basically emotional warfare. Last week, Emma mentioned that Jake left his coffee cup on the counter again. Jake heard, "You're a slob and I'm disappointed in you." Emma meant, "Hey, can we figure out a system for this?" Within 5 minutes, they were fighting about everything from household chores to Jake's work schedule to Emma's relationship with her sister. Sound familiar? Here's what happened: they triggered each other's nervous systems and went from problem-solving mode to survival mode. Once you're in fight or flight, your brain literally can't access the part that handles rational communication. But here's the thing that nobody tells you about relationships: most fights aren't actually about what you're fighting about. They're about feeling unheard, misunderstood, or disconnected. Emma wasn't really mad about the coffee cup. She was feeling like her needs didn't matter to Jake. Jake wasn't really defensive about cleaning, he was feeling like nothing he did was ever good enough. The coffee cup was just the trigger. The real conversation was about feeling valued and appreciated. This is why you can resolve the surface issue, agree on a chore chart, promise to text more, whatever, but find yourselves having the same fight over and over again. You're solving the wrong problem. The real issue isn't what you're communicating about. It's how you're communicating and whether you both feel safe to be honest about what's really going on underneath. Dr. John Gottman studied over 3,000 couples and found that it's not whether you fight that determines if your relationship survives, it's how you fight. He discovered something called the 4 horsemen: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. When these show up in your arguments, you're not communicating anymore. You're just hurting each other. But here's what's really happening in your brain during conflict. When you feel attacked or misunderstood, your amygdala, your brain's alarm system, hijacks your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for rational thinking and empathy. This is called amygdala hijack, and it's why you say things you don't mean and can't understand your partner's perspective when you're upset. You're literally not thinking with your full brain. Dr. Dan Siegel's research shows that it takes about 20 minutes for your nervous system to calm down after being triggered. This is why continuing to argue when you're both activated never works. You're both running on adrenaline, not logic. There's also something called negative sentiment override. When couples get stuck in toxic communication patterns, they start interpreting neutral or even positive comments negatively. So when your partner says, "How was your day?" you hear, "What did you mess up today?" The good news is that neuroplasticity means you can literally rewire these patterns. Your brain can learn new ways to respond to conflict, but it takes intentional practice. Psychologist Dr. Sue Johnson, who created emotionally focused therapy, discovered that underneath every relationship fight is a cry for connection. We get triggered because we're afraid of losing our bond with our person. When you understand that your partner's anger is actually fear of losing you, fear of not mattering, fear of not being good enough, everything changes. Their defensiveness isn't an attack on you. It's them trying to protect themselves from feeling rejected by you. Alright, here are 5 techniques that will transform how you communicate during conflict. First, use the pause button. The moment you feel your heart racing or your voice getting louder, say, "I need a 20-minute break to calm down, then let's finish this conversation." This isn't avoidance, it's giving your nervous system time to reset so you can actually think clearly. During that break, don't rehearse your argument or think about how wrong they are. Do something physical: walk, stretch, breathe deeply. You're literally helping your brain come back online. Second, lead with your underlying need, not your complaint. Instead of, "You never help with dinner," try, "I'm feeling overwhelmed with cooking every night and I really need more support with meals." You're sharing what you need instead of attacking what they're doing wrong. This completely changes the conversation because now they can help you solve a problem instead of having to defend themselves against an accusation. Third, use I statements for your feelings and we statements for solutions. I feel disconnected when we don't have time together, instead of you're always on your phone. Then follow with how can we create more quality time together? This keeps you on the same team working toward a solution instead of becoming opponents in a battle. Fourth, reflect before you respond. Before you defend, explain, or counterattack, repeat back what you heard them say. It sounds like you're feeling frustrated because this does two things: it makes sure you actually understood them, and it shows them you're listening. Most of the time, people just want to feel heard. When they know you really get their perspective, they calm down and become more open to hearing yours. Fifth, take responsibility for your part without making it about them. I realize I've been bringing up problems right when you get home from work, which probably feels overwhelming. I want to find a better time to talk about things. Notice no, but you, or because you, just owning your contribution to the dynamic. When you take responsibility first, it creates emotional safety for your partner to do the same. But if you do it as a manipulation tactic to get them to admit they're wrong, it won't work. It has to be genuine. Here's what I want you to remember: healthy communication isn't about never disagreeing. It's about disagreeing in a way that brings you closer together instead of tearing you apart. Every conflict is an opportunity to understand each other better and strengthen your bond. But only if you approach it as teammates working on a problem together, not enemies trying to win a war. Emma and Jake learned these techniques, and now when issues come up, they address them before they become explosions. They still disagree sometimes, but they don't destroy each other in the process. Your relationship is worth the effort it takes to communicate with love and respect, even when you're frustrated. Which of these 5 techniques do you think would make the biggest difference in your relationship? And be honest, what's your biggest communication challenge with your partner? If this video gave you some new tools for your relationship toolbox, please hit that like button and subscribe for more practical relationship advice that actually works. And if you want to dive deeper into building emotional intelligence in your relationship, check out this video about understanding your partner's attachment style. It's a total game changer. Thanks for watching, and remember, great relationships aren't accident. They're built with intention, one conversation at a time.
Like, subscribed, and add alert. Grow and glow every day.